Hello and welcome to the Music Survival Guide, the independent musician's guide on how to survive in the music industry. My name's Phil, a mixing and mastering engineer. Hope you're all doing marvellously, wonderfully well. We're now into November, which is crazy. I feel like 2024 has only really just started, and here we are getting towards the end. But let's not talk about such fatalistic things in life and get on to what I really want to talk about, which is promoting your music. Hooray! Everyone's favourite topic. So I realised lately I've had a set of thoughts about a good way to go around promoting your music, and I wanted to collate them into a podcast, really. And this is not a kind of complete list of everything you should do to promote your music, but it's a kind of set of ideas, if that makes sense. So I think if you kind of take something, this advice from this advice buffet, you'll find something of great worth within it, and you can apply it to what you're already doing and make your next release even better. And that, frankly, is what it's all about. Because in my book, with each release, you should be learning from it, working out what you did well, what you do more of, and what you didn't do so well, and what you want to do less of or not try again. And that way you can make sure each release hopefully does better than the last one. If it doesn't, again, if you don't get the same amount of numbers or whatever, you can work out why. Why is that? What did we do wrong? And I think that's really, really important to have that kind of feedback. And on that note, I strongly recommend to anyone and everyone who asks me that singles are the way. They really are the way, unfortunately, in this day and age. If you want to know an album, that's great. But I would honestly say release it all as singles and then collate it into an album at the end and release that. And then that way you kind of got another opportunity to promote what you're doing. And this, as I say, gives you more opportunities to be discovered, because however many people have listened to your music and might get a bit annoyed by the fact that you're kind of releasing it piecemeal, there are so many more people who have never heard your music, and that one extra release might just be the thing that pushes them over the edge and means they discover who you are for the first time. So don't disregard it. More opportunities to be discovered is great. And as I said, more opportunities to improve your release strategy. Singles are the way. Do it. So there you are. My other kind of, I guess, caution that I can see bands doing, and it sometimes drives me up the wall, is when you've completed your music, however you're doing that, mixing it, mastering it yourself, hiring other people to do it, whatever way or shape you're kind of going about that, do not, I repeat, do not immediately release your music on completion. Don't get me wrong. I know it's exciting. I know it's great fun to have some music come out and it's, you finished it and you want everyone to hear it. Totally understandable, completely relatable. But I think the worst thing you can do for your music is to just immediately throw it out on completion and go, there we are, we're done, here it is. Because you've not planned ahead. You've not worked out how are you going to get people's attention for this music. How are you going to, as I say, grab their attention and hopefully keep it for the duration of a song? How are you going to get people to click on a link to listen to your music? Because if you've not thought this through, then you're not going to make the progress that you want to make, which is no fun, but it's true. So there you are. That would be my strong advice. Do not do it. I've seen so many bands do it, and every single time I do wonder, like, why do that? But there you are. So if you've got an album of singles to put out, say, and you've got this much music, how often should you put it out? Good question. Like, what's the optimal time? I've heard somewhere that 3 to 4 weeks, so about a month or a little bit less than a month, is good. Because don't forget, that would be a regular release. If you've got an album done, you're working through an album, that will be a regular release pattern so people can get used to what you are doing for this particular body of music. But more importantly for Spotify, and I know there's far more to this world than Spotify, but here we are. I'm going to talk about Spotify for now. Their release radar, the kind of minimum date that you can put out another piece of music to go on there as well, is about 3 to 4 weeks. Any less than that, and they will not consider you. Now, don't get me wrong, you might not end up on the radar, and that's not fun, but it's true. And don't get disheartened by that, but don't stop trying, is what I would say, because it might be that one particular piece of music blows up, and, if you put it out 2 weeks after the previous one, then they won't consider it compared to, a little bit longer. So I would definitely try that. The next thing to think about is, how do you market it? How do you go about getting your music out there? It's really exhausting, I know, but take some time to plan ahead. Don't just do this ad hoc. Think about what you want to do before you're doing it. So I would say each song needs multiple pieces of content, and don't capture your different content in the same room, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to capture attention, and you want to try it in as many different ways as possible. Film one, sure, in the room that you rehearse in or the room that you record in. Do that, that's great, why not? But also say do it in the car, do when you're out and about somewhere, when you're walking, when you may be at a venue before a gig starts. Take some time to plan ahead and think about doing that kind of thing. Because again, it's seeing people in different kind of contexts will grab attention. That's not to say that you need to tailor your content to that venue as such, to wherever you are. That would be a clever idea to do that. But that kind of visual scenery change can really, really help people kind of stop and think, oh, why is that person, I don't know, sitting on a stage before a gig starts? What are they talking about? And then they might think to stop and read what you're doing. On that note, if you're doing reels, put in subtitles every single time. Put in subtitles. There's software that you can use to use it, but Instagram, which I use, has a feature which just allows you to put in subtitles, and it's wonderful. Do it because it's free. And that means that even if you are on mute, people will stop to see what you're talking about. Obviously, if you're talking about the pre-release of a song, you might want to put, say, a teasing version of the song, like an instrumental-only version behind it, or if it's really early on, some other songs you can put on behind what you're talking about, because obviously, if people have a chance to listen to your music whilst they're listening to you talk, that seems like a very good idea to me. Just a thought. And I would just say, make sure that your content is engaging. Now, what I mean by that can be really vague, really, really, really vague. But here is an idea for you. And I really, really like this idea. Instead of saying something like, hey, my new song's just dropped, come and give it a listen, something to that regard, think about engaging with the themes of the song. What is the song about? And why do people need to hear that song? Let's say that your song is about heartbreak, and then the way you can talk about that is we've just released this song and you need to hear it because it's all about heartbreak. If you've experienced heartbreak in your life, this song will be for you. Something like that is a really, really cool way of doing it, and think about the various themes of the song and how can you talk about that in different ways. That is something that I don't see many bands doing, and I think it's something that really, really could work for you, because talking about what the song is about will prime people to hear it and hear it in the right frame of mind. If you come in going, I think this is going to be a happy song, and then it is about heartbreak, then maybe they won't be prepared for it and they might not enjoy it as much as you think they will, which is frustrating. So if you can do that, you've got something to talk about. Great, wonderful, easy win. But you've also got a reason why people should listen to your music. I think the same is true with a Spotify pre-save campaign. If you can talk about the why, the emotion behind it, why should someone pre-save your song? Why would they want to pre-save it so when it's released they can hear it? This is a good reason. Don't just ask people to pre-save. You've got to talk about the emotion behind it. But also, you have got to ask people. That is important. Now, I want to talk about something controversial. Music videos. Now, I know a lot of people love the idea of a music video on release or very quickly after release of a song. But here's the thing. They can be, not always, they can be quite a big money pit for relatively little reward. Not always, as I say. But maybe because of that, it is time to flip your understanding. Maybe instead of a music video coming kind of immediately on release of a song, maybe here's a good way to think about it: releasing a music video as like a reward for a high streaming song. So for example, you put out, I don't know, let's play 5 or 6 singles lately, and one of them is doing far, far better than the others. That is the song to kind of reward, as it were, with a music video. And that way, you have an extra piece of content, you have an extra push for that song, you've got another kind of moment of release, I guess, covered with a music video, another kind of way of people experiencing you and what you're doing. And don't forget, because people have heard your song, that's great, but they will probably, if they're fans of yours, also want to watch the video. And if you can spread out those two events, then they might get in and say, let's say, a new appreciation for the song, and they'll come back to the song wherever they're listening to it. So don't disregard that. I would honestly consider that a really, really cool idea. Make sure that they are a reward and you are therefore spending your money in a really clever and considered way. Don't just throw money into the song you think will do best. Wait for your fans to decide what they think is best. Not always the way that we want to do it, but I think that's a really, really helpful way to approach that kind of thing. My final thought, I guess, I told you this is kind of a mixed bag of thoughts, is about playlists on, all the streaming services, but I'm particularly thinking about Spotify, but all the streaming services. Playlists can be very difficult. You can find yourself randomly added to playlists, and that's really cool. Sometimes you get added to really big ones, official ones. You can ask to join official ones. I'm just saying, if you leave time between your song completion and your release, you have time to ask these things. Just a thought. But if you're struggling, if you're not finding yourself on as many playlists as you like, have you considered making your own? Crazy idea. Maybe not from the band account or whatever, maybe just from your own personal account. Make your own playlist and, crucially, feature your music in it. Now, what that playlist is about and what it's like, it depends. I don't know. You might just call it New Releases Rock 2024. Really vague, really general, really big. And it could just be your favourite songs of 2024 plus your own. I mean, hopefully you like your own songs, but And that way could be a really cool way of doing it. Or if you want to do something a bit more grassroots, it might be like, I don't know, Hard Rock London 2024. And then you can add all your friends' bands to this playlist as well as yourself. And that way, people will just naturally, as they do on Spotify, find the playlist, follow it, and find your music, maybe alongside your friends. Could be a really cool way to bring up several people alongside yourself. But don't disregard making your own, because it's just a really cool free bit of marketing that you should consider. Do not disregard making your own playlists as well. I told you it was a bit of a random advice buffet, and there it was. So take what you will, enjoy what you might, try what you can, see how it goes. I would love to hear back from you. Please do talk to me about these weird and wonderful ways that I suggested. I would love to hear what you think about them. That is it for another episode of the Music Survivor Guide. So thank you very much for listening. If you liked it, please rate and review the podcast wherever you listen. It all, of course, helps the algorithm. And please do share it with friends. And please do share it with friends and bandmates if you thought it was helpful. If there's useful things in there you want to think about doing as a band, then share it and we can talk about it. Finally, if you're thinking about recording or mixing and you want to talk about it, feel free to reach out to me via the links in the podcast description below. And I will see you next time.